And we're live. Welcome back to the second episode of Hive Hour. And we've got, I suppose, one of the best guests we could get, really, from YouTube. It's Laurence Edwards from Black Mountain Honey. You're looking for the best guest there behind you?
I was thinking it's probably Jasper the best guest. But yeah, that countdown music got me really excited and really nervous at the same time.
Yeah, I feel the same. It's just, I found that button and I don't know, it gets me ready to get crack on, because obviously I'm a lot newer to this than you. Laurence, of course, he's been running lives for a long time. He's no stranger to this. So the way we're going to run Hive Hour is basically it's an interview platform. We're going to interview Laurence. I'm going to ask him. I've got a list of questions here I want to ask Laurence. Is basically business based. So we're looking at beekeeping businesses. That's what we're into. And Laurence runs a successful beekeeping business, and we just want to find out a little bit more about that, maybe a little bit more about Laurence's background, how he's had a beekeeping, and then we'll do a Q&A at the end. So I'll scroll through some of the questions. We won't be able to answer all of them. I want to try and keep everything to between 1 hour, 1.5 hours for these live/podcasts. And of course, if you want to get a full Q&A, then Laurence's Q&A is next week. Saturday next week, Laurence?
Oh, a day to be confirmed next week, because it's Saturday, Arsenal playing Wolves at 7:30. So I'm going to watch that after how badly we performed today. And then Sunday, I think I've got my daughter on Sunday, so I'm not sure, but we'll squeeze it in. It'll be next weekend.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll squeeze it in. You squeeze all the YouTube videos, and anyway, you'll find a way. Anyway, let's get rolling. Let's start it off. So you don't need much of an introduction, Laurence, but introduce yourselves, just in case there's new beekeepers obviously starting every year. They may be new to the channel, maybe new to yours. They're just starting beekeeping. How would you describe yourself to a newbie beekeeper who doesn't currently watch your channel?
Okay, so my name's Laurence Edwards from a company called Black Mountain Honey. I would class myself probably as a micro bee farmer. I'm about as close to not being a bee farmer as you could possibly be. The smallest scale bee farmer that there is, really. And I guess the only reason that I would class myself as a bee farmer is that I do have a commercial beekeeping business, but I'm not one with hundreds and hundreds of beehives kind of slogging it away for lots of honey and buckets. Not that kind of bee farmer. And I guess that's about it. So I've also got a YouTube channel, as some people might know, which I enjoy. And we sell queens, and we sell nucs, and we sell honey.
Yeah, because that's one thing I've been impressed with your business model, really, in beekeeping. You've built a successful business, but not around keeping hundreds and hundreds of hives. But you're very lean. You keep it bootstrapped. You're not overexposed. You're not on a big farm or not leasing a big unit or anything. You've proven that you can set up a business from home and be successful and reach large parts of the UK with your products. And I suppose you're one of the first major disruptors in beekeeping, I think, especially with your nucs and your queens and your videos. Whoop, let me just turn this off.
Not me. Who's calling Griffith? Who's
calling Gwenyn Gruffydd at this time of day? I'm going to try to see if I can turn this off.
I think you should answer it and see what it is and say hi. Yeah, I'm going to leave a voicemail. This could be brilliant.
Someone obviously knows. Anyway, we'll ignore that. Sorry about that. But that's what I was saying. You're one of the I suppose the new disruptors in beekeeping, and you've really disrupted the marketplace a little bit. You've forced me to up my game. Certainly, I think you've got a role to play there. You forced me to improve my marketing, sell my honey in a different way, sell my bees in a different way. I think you've forced the industry forward a little bit, because you've been pretty good at the marketing and the online side of things. So credit to you there. You've done a really good job. But here's one question I want to ask you: how did you end up in sunny Wales? I think from London originally, is it?
London originally, yeah. So first off, thanks for saying that. I didn't set out to be a disruptor in the beekeeping market, but I think I might have a few disgruntled people about me coming into the beekeeping industry, but I never set out to do that. And I would love to say that it was my strategy to be really lean and not have a big premises and do all of that, but it wasn't. Like, that's what I tried to do and failed miserably at that, and realized it wasn't for me, and then kind of reverted back to what I'm doing now. So there wasn't a grand master plan. But yes, originally I was born in Greenwich, and then I moved to Wales because my wife lives in Wales. She's not Welsh. She moved up here from Bedford when she was 8, but we were both living in Birmingham at the time, and just thought it would be nice to move away, live in the countryside. And I love it. I'd never go back to a city. It's great.
Yeah, well, that's. I thought a lot of people that moved away, as I ask them, where are you from, and they say, London or anything, and thinking, do you like it? They'll never go back. I think once you move to somewhere like Wales, that's it. The quality of life, the way of life, everything about being in the country. Even if you're not like deep in the countryside, you're just on the outskirts, village life, like they say. You just can't compare that to living in built up areas. The roads are quiet, and you can really get on and do something in this area, and have the peace to do it.
What's interesting though, I find a lot of people who grow up around here move to London. And they're kind of, I can't be dealing with living in Wales. And they go to London, to find their fame and fortune. And they say, oh, God, wow, it must be amazing living in London. And when you live in London, you don't really realize how busy London is. I lived in London for 20 years, 21 years. And it was only since I moved out, I was like, wow, I can't handle like living in London. I have to go back there for work. Do a bit, only a little bit in like Canary Wharf. And like you're traveling down and commuting down and watching the people who are commuting down to London every day. And then the hustle and bustle in London, and I'm just like, I just want to be back home I'm looking out the window now, just loads of sheep, and it's quiet, and you go to bed and it's quiet. There's not a noise, is there? You could hear a pin.
Well, that's it. Night. And one thing I always notice when I go to say, I suppose once you hit the Midlands and you go further east, is just the amount of cars that's on the road. That's what hits me more than anything. The population. I think London has got more population than all of Wales. So, the closer you get to London, it's just the amount of traffic on the road is mind-boggling for someone like me, from the Wild West down in this side of Wales.
The opposite does apply, though, for people in London when they come to Wales and they get in their first sheep jam. And they're like, what is going, like proper sheep jam? You have to stop, don't you, and let all the 1,000 sheep come through.
Yeah.
That's just like every other day in Wales, isn't it?
Yeah, stuff we take for granted. And yeah, that's one of the joys of living in rural UK, I suppose.
Brilliant.
And if it's sheep, it's rural Wales or right up north, I suppose. That's they've got the same kind of problems. Definitely. So explain to us, how did you get into beekeeping then, Laurence? You moved to Wales and you thought, I want to start up beekeeping, or what happened?
Yeah, so I started just before I moved to Wales, actually. We had swarmland in the garden in Birmingham, and the guys living next door, a couple of doors down, they came and collected the swarm. I was out playing rugby, and then I came back the following weekend, and it happened again. And then knowing a bit more about beekeeping, that happens, doesn't it? You get a colony that swarms, and then it swarms again the next week. So the second swarm, I thought, I can't let this swarm go. And the guy who collected it, he said, well, I'll put it in a nuc for you, and I'll keep it at my house. And then, when you're set up and ready for it, you come back and get it. And he did, and he gave me a nuc, and I started. And then that first season, I split them a bit. And I remember I went down to BS Honeybees and bought a queen from them, because I'd killed my queen or something had happened. And I remember coming back home all excited and put it in the colony and opened it up. And then an hour later thinking, oh, come on, it's just hurry up, do something, like poking it with a stick, do something. And went back and opened up the cage and it just flew off. So I had to go back down and buy another queen from them. So that was the level of amateurness that was happening back then. So then I got up to, it was either 3 or 4 hives, and then we moved to Wales. So I drove down to Wales with the 3 or 4 hives in the back of the car, not very well strapped up, leaking, probably 6 months beekeeping experience under my belt. And then, moved to Wales, and then it all took off.
So at what point did you, through the journey, did you go, right, I'm going to go from being a hobby and I'm going to try making a little bit of income through beekeeping? How much time span and what was your thought around doing that?
So if anyone speaks to my wife, I don't do things by halves. And it's not a case of like, oh, I want to make this as big as I possibly can. I just get really carried away with things. So there was never really a thought, oh, I'm going to turn this into a beekeeping business. I guess the evolution was, well, I've got some bees. and it's quite easy to split bees to make more bees. And I like honey, so I'm going to get more honey, and I'm going to sell a bit more honey. And then, oh, I've got some honey and I've managed to sell it. I could probably sell 3 or 4 times that amount. And that just snowballed and got completely out of control very, very quickly. And then with my job, and like I quite enjoy the mechanics behind, like I'm a project manager, but the numbers behind business. So I became aware quite early on that I could become VAT registered, and that I could offset my pay as you earn, you know, my pay versus the tax. So it essentially means that if you buy a beehive for £120 and you're VAT registered, you obviously get your £20 back. And then for me, I was getting 42% back on top of that as well. So a £120 beehive was only costing me £58. And I was just like, this is great. I'm gonna use that as much as I can. So there was no real desire to turn it into a big, huge business, but there was a desire to just expand it because it was quite tax efficient to expand it at that point. I thought this could be like a nice backup. But I remember, and the person I'm going to talk about, I won't name them, but they'll probably be quite miffed at this. But I never wanted to expand the business in the way that it was expanded. Like I never thought I'm going to do YouTube and I'm going to sell queens and I'm going to sell Nucs. The agreement that I had was that I'll just keep bees. I'll buy the beehives. I'll keep bees. I'll bring you some supers, and you extract the supers, and you know you sell the honey, and you pay me a fair amount of money for that. That was the deal. And if that deal had gone ahead, that would have been Black Mountain Honey. It would have never changed from that, which is just go out, do your bees, get a little bit of honey to kind of pay for it. And unfortunately, that deal never really took off, and the person who was going to do that just fell off the face of the earth as people will know, in August, which is like, I've got 100 supers here full of honey that you said you were going to extract, and I've got no way to extract them. So I had to fall into emergency mode, which was buy a big honey extractor and extract it myself and then sell it. And then to my surprise, it was quite easy. Like it was quite easy to extract it, and it was quite easy to sell it. And then it took on from there. So that really was the birth of Black Mountain Honey, having that, I guess, that experience with that person where they let you down. So they really created the company and turned it into what it was. And then I guess I plodded on for a little bit and sold a few Nucs and sold a bit of honey. And then the entry into the Queen's world was a funny one, which was I'd bought 25 queens from Murray McGregor in, I don't know, like maybe October. Paid him. You know what Murray's like. You don't pay him. You just order them, don't you? And he sends you an invoice.
He sends you a bill in 3 months' time or whatever.
Sends you a bill in 3 months' time.
Yeah.
So I'd ordered them in October, 25 queens, and then come April, I just had a knock on the door, and the postman was there with 25 queens, and I was like, I had no idea these queens were coming at that point. So I rung Murray up and said, I didn't know these queens were coming at this point, but B, I can't do anything with them. Like I've got nothing set up. I've already made splits. So like, what can I do with them? Do you mind if I try and sell them? And he said, oh yeah, sure. Just try and sell them. That's fine. So I put it on the Facebook, and they sold within like 2 days. And I thought, oh, that's where we go in here, selling queens. And then obviously things took off from there. Yeah,
because basically, you came from nothing selling queens to, I suppose, I don't know whether you'd be one of the biggest in the UK now, but I suspect you're on the way up there. You're selling a lot, and you got another deal with another queen supplier abroad and bringing them queens over. And how did that come about?
So I started off selling Murray's queens, and then Murray kind of pulled out of the market. He was a bit intermittent on the imported queens market. I think he had a few issues with his suppliers. So I went through like 2 or 3 different suppliers at that point, because I saw there was huge demand there. And I wasn't happy with the quality of the queens that I was getting at that point. So I was intent on finding a supplier who could provide me with really good top quality queens. And I kept on going around to these different people in Europe and saying, I think I can maybe sell some queens in the UK. And they either said, we're not interested. Like, who are you? We're not interested. Or we already supply someone in the UK, so we can't deal with anybody else. And then I knew Molita Bees already, so that's who we import with, Molita Bees. because I'd bought queens from them previously, directly prior to Brexit. So I knew they were really good. And I just took a gamble and messaged them and said, I think we can do a deal. And they were up for it. And then it was great because there was no risk on my part then, because I already knew they were really, really good queens. And yeah, so that's who we supply the queens through now.
The rest is history, like they say.
Rest is history.
And you got queens coming. Is that how it works? You got queens coming every week from, say, April to September, and you use what you want yourself, and they sell it as well.
Yeah, they literally come every week. It's the worst thing in the world for someone like me, though, because I'm a natural worrier. I stress myself out about things, and with queens, you can't just take the orders and then say to the breeder, oh, I want this amount this week. Like, he comes to you in September and says, right, give me your schedule for next year. How many do you want? Week by week basis, and you have to commit. And you have to commit to the numbers, and you don't want to go under, because you think, well, I don't want to let people down, because if they want queens, I want to be able to provide them. But you definitely don't want to go over and order too many queens and then not be able to sell them. So it's
not like sitting on honey, is it? You can sit on honey. It doesn't matter if you got a ton a week coming in or whatever. There's no stress.
No,
obviously with queens, it's perishable goods. It's and I suppose you don't want to be stuck with queens and them dying on you or etc. Then you got the welfare and you feel bad about it. So yeah, I mean, well, I know you're selling queens because just scrolling through social media, I see everybody saying I got my Black Mountain Honey queen. So I know you sell a fair bit anyway. And I suppose what's good about your business, because I talk a lot about diversifying your business, and you've diversified your business. You've got your honey, you've got your Nucs, you've got your queens. I suppose you got your YouTube as well. Break that up for us to understand your model percentage wise. What's the biggest side of your business, and what's the smallest side of your business? Don't give us any specific figures, but just a percentage for us to get a rough idea.
So honey is by far and away the smallest. So honey is probably 10%. And then I would say out of that 10%, 90% of it, as you all know, is like November, December. So it's just gift sets. But 10% honey, and then I would say it's pretty much an even split, 45% between the Nucs and the queens.
Yeah, that's good, because what I like about that is if anything bad happens in the season, say something happens, you Nucs overwinter very poorly, or it's a bad summer crop, well, at least the queens are coming in. So you're still in business, and if the queens are bad in Europe, then you've got your Nucs and you've got your honey. So yeah, I really like that about your setup. It's very similar to us. Different revenue sources just to try and make sure that you can survive a bad year more than anything. Did you purposely set it up like that, or was that just how it happened and it worked out pretty good?
No, like I said at the beginning, I wish it was like a grand master plan, and I could say, oh, well, I set this all up and I meant to do it on purpose, and it couldn't be further from the truth. When I started off, I thought, well, I could probably manage 150 hives. I reckon I can manage 150 hives. I've got like the inspections down pretty good. I've got the locations nice and close to each other. I reckon I could do 150 hives and then do 2 weeks of extraction each year, take a bit of annual leave, and that's it. I'll just sell bulk honey. That genuinely was the plan. And it was only through those little events that happened, and I thought, ooh, that's an easier way of managing this business. And also realizing I'm in my first season doing 150 hives, and I was like, that's it, 150 hives, and not just 150 hives with like 2 frames of bees in it, like proper full colonies of bees. And I remember getting maybe 4 or 5 weeks into like inspections and thinking, I'm really not enjoying this. Like, not just like, oh, this isn't that fun. I hate this with an absolute passion. Like, my back is killing me. I've done a 45-hour week at work, and it's raining, and I'm outside in a wet bee suit inspecting bees that are just intent on swarming on me. I thought, what am I doing? I should be with my family, or like, at the park, or with my daughter, or with my wife, or playing golf, or fishing, or just anywhere else apart from here. So that decision came on quite early, that I genuinely wasn't cut out for it. And I take my hat off to the bee farmers who are out there, like, properly. It's a slog. bee farming is a hard job. I think people look at it from the outside. Like you might look at your Instagram and think, oh, it's a nice job. He gets to go and like play with bees and flowers and that. And it's not, is it? It is properly difficult. It is hard. And you get to the end of the day and you are knackered and you've got to do it again the next day.
But it's harder when you've got another job as well.
Oh, yeah.
Your job is taken, because when I was working as a ranger, that job is taking your prime time, and then you're trying to build a business on the side, and the stress of that is huge because you're in work but your head's not in it, because you're thinking of all the bees at home and thinking I should be on the bees now, nice sunny day. You know, I remember being in the council, boiling hot day, everybody loving it, and I'm thinking, I bet you all my bees are swarming now. You know, and I dropped my hours, etc. And I packed it up in the end. But you know, it's really hard to run large number of bees and work, you know, a full-time job, especially your kind of job, you know, high level job you've got. You know, it takes all your prime time in the week basically, and you know, obviously you've got a family as well, same as me. You've got to find time for them. You know, you've got to be a dad. So it's very and this isn't we're not an isolated case here. I suppose most of mid-size honey farms in the UK are going through exactly the same thing. They're building a honey business. They're turning over, I suppose, good money. They don't want to lose that money, but they're in a safe, secure job as well. And that is the hardest thing. And I remember telling you before, the better paid job you've got, the harder that job is to leave. And I suppose I wasn't in a very high paid job. It's just an average salary. So it was a lot easier for me to leave. The higher, the more money you're getting paid in a job, it's very hard for you to leave, and especially to go self-employed or, you know, chase bees around the countryside. It's not an easy thing, but you know, you're managing it. But we come into that later on in the conversation to see what your future plans is. But looking at the way you built your business, I mean, you're what I would call a fast-growing business. You've done it very, very fast, and you've done it successfully. Have you had any big mistakes or any mistakes you'd like that you didn't do as you build up? Because as you tend to grow fast, things sometimes goes wrong. Share one or two stories with us of things going wrong.
So if I get through the day and I've made less than 3 mistakes in the day, I'm like well happy with that. Like genuinely, I make mistakes every single day. I make lots of mistakes, and I make the same mistake numerous times over. And I think early on, I'd start off with more bee-related mistakes. So my bee-related mistakes would be chasing bad colonies. So that's always the one. You get a colony that's like limping through, and you think, what can I do to save this colony? And you start throwing resources at it. You throw mated queens at it. You throw brood at it. And then in the end, it's just a bit of a rubbish colony. And you've thrown all this resource at it. Whereas now, like, my mindset's completely changed, which is, well, okay, that colony is not doing any well. So just shake all the bees off and just melt everything down and just make a nice, healthy split from a healthy colony of bees. So that mindset's definitely changed. In terms of like real big schoolboy beekeeping errors, the one that stands out is, and this is the thing. Like I like to say, you know, I've done like Lean Six Sigma and stuff like that. I like to think that I'm efficient, but a lot of it comes from being really lazy. So this is one of the ones where it's like, oh, this is efficiency hidden as absolute laziness, which was, I didn't want to go around. I had about maybe six apiary sites, and I didn't want to go around to all of my apiary sites every few weeks feeding the bees for winter. So I thought, oh, it'd be much easier just to bring all of the bees to one single site and feed them there. And I brought them all to the site, and I mixed up all the feed there. And I lost maybe 35 or 40% of the bees over winter because it wasn't a good enough site for them, and there wasn't enough pollen there. And I'd been way too aggressive with the splits that I've made. And that was all just born from half being lazy, but half being like overrun, like running a full-time job and trying to do things on the side. So looking for quick, easy ways to get through, and then realizing with bees, there's no real, you can't cut corners like that. You have to take things seriously. But moving forward now, like the mistakes that I make now are more ministerial mistakes. So, like I did a video the other day. Somebody had emailed me and said, "Can I delay my nuke? So I don't want the nuke to come like last week. I want it to come first week of May." And I got back and said, "Yep, absolutely no problem." Gone onto my tracker and updated the person's details and changed her name. And then on the day that I'd sent the nuke, she messaged me saying, you've sent my nuke. Like, I'm pretty sure she was on holiday. You sent my nuke. I'm on holiday. There's no one there to receive it. And I've gone back and looked on the tracker, and there were 2 people with the exact same name, and I'd updated the wrong person's one. So I've done that. I've done that a few times already this year. Sent nukes out when like the person's not there, or they've asked me to not do it, or they've said, can I have this amount of queens instead, and I sent them to the wrong address, or I make mistakes like that quite a lot. So I'm trying like build good processes to stop me making those mistakes. But there'll always be little mistakes like that, and I think I will always deal with that in a way which is, I'm really, really sorry. Like, it's genuinely my mistake. We will put it right. So in the nuke example, if that nuke would have got sent there and no one was there to sign for it, and the nuke would have come back to us and it was dead, like, we just send them a new nuke. And I know that's sad for the bees, but you've got to own your mistakes and take full responsibility for them. But I make mistakes every single day.
Yeah, the thing is, you're probably overworked. See, you're doing probably like I was saying, Gwenyn Gruffydd, everybody's doing like 2 people's jobs, and it's very, where if you were in like a corporate world, you got one person just doing one thing. But you're doing the beekeeping, you're doing YouTube, you're doing dispatch. There's lots of things wearing this down, and you tend to make mistakes, and it happens here, and it's just unlucky when you do a mistake with a nuke. It's hard. It's easier sending someone a jar of honey, going, "Whoops, sorry, just keep the jar. It's okay." With nukes and queens, etc. It's just different ball game. But say now we reverse back right at the start, and you go right. You can see where you're going to go. Would you do anything different now? Different hive size or different frame format? What would you do different, knowing what you know now, if you were starting from the start again?
It's a really different question, that, because I'd come with the standard answer of frame size and bees, different types of bees that I would use. But I think take it back a step further than that. Would I start again? Full stop. I think I'd have to think a bit hard. I'd think harder about that. Would I genuinely start the business again from scratch? Like I do. I feel very proud and privileged to be where I am, but I feel I've made like quite a lot of sacrifices to get here, and I maybe resent that I missed out like a bit on my daughter growing up. Sacrifice from doing 2 jobs. But what would I change? I don't know. The strategy thing, I think I would sit down and plan a bit better. And I know, like, we'll say this on YouTube videos, where, sit down and plan what you're going to do. And in my job as a project manager, who's someone who is supposed to sit down and plan, like, I'm not a very good project manager either. I'm so I'm like a dog with a bone. I'm like, right, we'll do that. Let's go. And I'm just an action person. I want to get stuck straight into it. So I think from like a planning perspective, I think I would try and sit back a little bit and not jump at things straight away. And I'm still guilty of that now. Like I do things and something comes in and I'm like, oh, let's do that. Let's add it on. Let's add it onto the website. Let's do it. Like the beekeeping courses. So we have huge demand. As you will know, we have so many people messaging us saying, please start doing beekeeping courses. And I was going to start doing them this year, like after I already knew that Helen was pregnant with another child, and that conversation didn't go down too well, so we cancelled those. We might do those again, but again, it's knowing when you're too stretched. And I think that's my biggest problem that I have, which is I think that I can do it all, and I can't. Like I need to really prioritize what works and what doesn't work. From a beekeeping perspective, I would definitely start off with nice bees. I struggled for ages with horrible bees, horrible black native bees, and it's just because that's what people were telling me at the time, and I didn't know any better. And they said, oh, it's the right thing to do, and you need to have these bees, and these are all the reasons why these are good bees, and just found out through my own failings with them why I didn't like them or why they didn't work for me. It's not to say that they won't work for other people, but I would definitely swap that out and just start straight away and go with a nice, calm, friendly, prolific buckfast bee that gives you loads of honey and doesn't swarm. Like I struggle to find the bad things with buckfast bees, other than some people don't like them. In terms of hives, I would have standardized. It's weird because I've gone on this weird journey, which is saying to people, you must standardize your hives, don't have Langth and don't have commercial and don't have that. And then out of everybody probably in the UK, I'd say I've got the most different beehives. I've literally got every single type of different beehive that you can possibly imagine. And it is a bit of a nightmare using them all and trying to get them to fit. And I don't anymore. I've just got them all stacked up, and I'm just gonna sell them all individually. But I would standardize and go with a standard type. I don't know what type I'd go with. But I do. You will know this. There is a resurgence, or kind of like the introduction of a lot of people using Langstruth now.
Yeah, well, I would start off. If I was starting again, I'd go Langstruth, and but I'd have a separate nuke production unit for nationals.
Yeah.
But the honey hives would all be Langstruth.
They're loads better than Langstruth, aren't they?
Oh, way better. They're cheaper to buy. You know, there's loads of factories worldwide that make them. There's a reason that's the most popular size in the world.
It's the typical UK attitude, and I do understand the reasons for like the modified wooden national, but it is typical UK attitude, thinking, oh, we're not having none of that Langstruth, none of that kind of international stuff. No, we're Great Britain. We will do it our very own way, and then we just end up with like rubbish national hive. But it's not that bad. It's just the lugs I'm not a massive fan of. But I just think if you can, you will see this across everything that I do, and it goes through like the videos and the honey and the nukes. I'm not one for doing 1,000,001 varieties of something. Just go for one, and make it as simple as you can possibly do it, and try and get some economies of scale. And that's what the Langstruth hive does. It keeps it nice and simple. It works. Everyone uses it. Everyone's got the plans. It would make beekeeping in the UK a lot simpler if everyone was on Langstruth, I think.
It would, but I think the UK still, even though I'm seeing a lot more people go into Langstruth, not because we're now selling Langstruth stuff, so some maybe just seeing it a bit more. But I think people are really going towards, I suppose the flow hive has helped out with that as well. But still, for the next 10 years or so, I mean, the national probably is still going to be #1. But maybe in 10, 15 years' time, I personally think peak national hive has probably peaked. And it's a slow decline, and the Langstruth is slowly coming up, if that was enough. I don't know if you agree with that.
I definitely agree. I can't believe the amount of Langstruth nukes that we've sold, and we turned off the Langstruth nuke orders like first week of January, and I get a call or two every day saying they want to buy a Langstruth nuke. It's the David Beckham effect.
Beckham. Well, that's it. I don't want to say, I can't say nothing here, but you know, we've sold some Langstruth with some celebrities as well, which we can't name, obviously.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, I mean, that's flow hive. That's the flow hive doing that. They're not keeping them in the Nell hives. I don't think. You know, it's the flow hive people that are bringing the celebrities into beekeeping, and you know, as an industry, I mean, I think that's good. I mean, I know some people would be against celebrities keeping bees, but you know, if we get more publicity, more people learn about bees because you know celebrities doing, I think that's a really good thing, and if they can promote how important British honey is and homegrown food is, you know, I think we've all got somewhere to gain off the back of that. But yeah, interesting that you think the same as me. Now, interesting. This brings me on to the next question. Talk about how busy you are. You know, impressively, you're doing all of this and you're still working full time in a high demanding job. You know, how on earth do you do it? Do you delegate? Do you outsource some aspects of your business? Because you know, with my queen rearing, and we outsource all the queen rearing in Gwenyn Gruffydd, so we buy all the queens in. Interesting to hear your thoughts on that. Do you delegate, to outsource anything, or do you keep it all in house? So how do you do it?
So much like you, like I'm the face of Black Mountain Honey because people see it on the videos, but my wife does the vast majority of the work. So my wife's been working for the business for a couple of years now. And she picks up, she does the vast majority of the work. So she packs the queen orders, she like ships the nukes, gets those ready. She delivers the honey. She does all of that kind of stuff. In terms of the queens, obviously we work with Molita Bees, so they just import the queens into us, and that's kind of running nicely now. In terms of the nukes, you know, I work with Richard now, so Richard Stevens, so we do the nukes together. There's no way I could fulfill as many nukes as we do without Richard, and it took a lot of work to find someone like Richard. It was never about finding someone who could just do loads of nukes. It was about finding like the absolute best bee farmer that I could find, who I could work with, and who believed the same thing as me and like wanted to, you know, put quality above everything else. It wasn't a case of just we need this many numbers. It was a case of, well, we need this apiary hygiene level. We need this quality of queens. We need perfect looking frames. We need frames that are not 12 months or any older than 12 months old. So just trying to get all of that stuff up was quite difficult, but that relationship's really, really good now. And then I guess that's it really. Like the business is quite simple. It's nucs, queens and honey. In terms of like the UK mated queens, it's a very small part of the business and it's a very limited window. And that for me is probably the one part of the beekeeping that I really do enjoy, is like messing around and getting queens mated and playing with breeder queens. I love that. And I love getting it from a breeder queen through like eggs and larvae and then the virgins and then getting them mated and getting them caged and sending them out. And then people messaging you back and saying, well, that queen was amazing, really good. And you think, oh, I did that. So that's the one bit of like pride I take in all of it. I guess the one thing that I really, really do contribute to. And that's the way that it has to be, because I work full time and I can't dedicate my time to doing it. Like if I didn't work full time, I could rear probably a few more UK mated queens, but never enough to supply the demand in the UK. You know what the weather's like at the moment. It's not very good.
Yeah, no.
And the same with the nucs. Like I could produce all of those nucs myself, but that would be me working full time all the time to produce nucs. And I wouldn't find that like a fulfilling job. I like variety. I like getting hold of something and getting it moving and then moving on to something else. I can't just kind of be so focused on something indefinitely. So I like the way that it's set up at the moment, but yeah, there's a lot of, I don't like to call it delegation because it's not delegation. There's a lot of teamwork and there's a lot of partnerships going on in the background, and other people who are way better than me and way more experienced than me doing the good stuff, and then me just putting a cherry on the top.
Yeah, and that's a good way of doing it. I mean, like we set up here, and hard with me, Gwenyn Gruffydd wouldn't be what Gwenyn Gruffydd is if it weren't for hard dealing. I call her the CEO. She runs the business basically. Pays the bills and orders everything, and I just couldn't do it. I'm not educated enough. My skill is in the countryside. I was a ranger. I'm pretty good with my hands. I'm good with bees and animals and livestock. That's my skill set. I can't run the business. But luckily I married someone who does. So Gwenyn Gruffydd works there, and I think what a lot of people don't do, people try and stay as a one-man band for too long. Where if you are able, even if you're not employing anyone directly, but you're outsourcing something and you're paying for that, you're essentially employing someone, just off the books type of thing, was as a private contractor, you're creating an income for more than just yourself. So you're helping the economy, you're creating work, you're creating jobs. That is still very, very good for the economy. And in rural Wales, more of that is what we need. I mean, Apple, Microsoft, they're not going to come to Wales and set up a big factory and employ a load of people. So it takes smaller businesses, I suppose, like ours, to create maybe 1 or 2 jobs, 3 or 4 jobs. And if a lot more people did that, the economy would be in a much better place, and people could maybe stay in rural Wales or where they live rurally in the UK, because there's not many people creating jobs and opportunities there. So well done you for doing that. And I'm sure Richard is very glad Black Mountain Honey exists, and he's got an outlet to help you. And your wife, she's obviously, she left a full-time job.
Yeah,
she's full-time in Black Mountain Honey. So she's with a new kid on the way. I mean, fantastic. She doesn't have to worry about rushing back to work, etc. But I suppose she's still got to work with you, just like Angara when she flew and the kids were young. But it's a different kind of work. When you're working for yourself, you don't really see it as going to work. So yeah, well done. That's one thing you've done really, really well. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
But look, what's the long-term plan there? Your wife's now full-time in the business. Richard is helping you out a great deal. Is it time for Laurence to be full-time, 100% of his time dedicated in Black Mountain Honey, or are you going to run it the way it is? What's your long-term vision then for the business?
So I'm possibly the most risk averse person you could ever meet. Like, I really don't tolerate risk very well. And and it's interesting you say about like employing people. I couldn't do that. I couldn't kind of go and take on an apprentice and put the resource into someone and try and build through that scale. I'm quite happy with where the business is at the moment, and it's manageable for me at the moment. And I got it to a point where I've been able to step back. That's my new pop filter mic that I just hit there. I've been able to step back, and it's become, for the first time in the last maybe 2 years, like reasonably manageable. So I have no intentions of quitting my job at the moment, but I'm taking time off for parental leave. So I will be looking after my new daughter, who's due in like a month, something like that.
Wow.
And I'm off for quite a while. So I'm off for like a year. So I'm not in work for the next year, which would be nice. But it's kind of like giving up one job and then taking up another job of looking after a child, which is going to be, I think, a rude awakening.
Yeah, you'll be glad to go back to work.
Glad to go back. But there's no grand plan. There's nothing else. There's nothing new that I'm looking to add into it at the moment. I'm happy with where it is, and I'm happy with like what it generates at the moment. And I just don't want to push things too far. So I'll polish things. I'll maybe try and go with some different queen lines or make things more efficient. But I just don't want to push into like a new market for the fear of it going wrong, and then looking back and thinking, you know what, we had it quite good back then. Why did we try and push it and try and make, I don't know, it's money, isn't it? Really, at the end of the day, if you're going into new markets, you're looking at making more money, and I'm happy with where we are at the moment, and I just wouldn't want it to change. So the things, like for me, the way that I would like develop the company and change the company is I'll think, well, how can I make the experience better for people? And that's the journey that I want to take it on. I want to say, well, happy with Nucs, queens, and honey. We're not doing anything else. But how can I give people the very best possible queens? And how can I give them the best possible service? Can I extend the cut-off times? Can I give them different guarantees on the queens? Can I bring in new, different genetics for those queens? Can I give them more help with how to introduce the queens and give them like different angles, and maybe not do it on video, but do it on text as well? And then the YouTube side of it as well, just how can I improve that for people? Because I did go through a long old spell on YouTube, maybe a good year of trying to do, you know, you hear my click there, like shock factor, trying to take over YouTube, and it just didn't work at all. And not only did it not work, I think it really annoyed a lot of people, and people were just like, nah, it's just getting pathetic now. It's supposed to be no nonsense beekeeping, and you've got this guy going, you won't believe what in the world this could be. And there always needs to be a little bit of that on YouTube. You can't just give it all away on the thumbnail in the description, because if you do that, no one clicks on your videos, and you become a very stale channel, and YouTube penalizes you. But I'm definitely moving away from any shock factor and trying to get a million views. I did get a million views. We'll talk about that in a sec. I got a million views on a video the other day, which I was really proud of.
Wow. But
I'm moving away from trying to get the numbers like up and trying to improve and get that shock factor in there, and moving back to thinking, I've got 37,000 subscribers, like loyal people who have come here for a reason. And the reason that they've come here is that they want to learn about beekeeping. And like, I can help them learn about beekeeping. So I want to bring in different styles of learning and different education methods and different ways that I can show them. Can I start drawing on a whiteboard to explain what a demaree is? And, you know, when you're doing your demaree splits and you've used Apivar the year before, like, how do you use the honey? And just go to the nth degree to give people the information through YouTube, and make it hopefully the best beekeeping channel that it can possibly be for me. So that's where I'm looking at. If I look forward, they're the areas that I'm thinking, how can I just improve what we've got already? How can we polish it and make it as good as it can possibly be?
Yeah, well, I think you're doing a good job already. So, I mean, I think the longer you do something, the better you become. And, you know, looking at your channel, that's clearly, you know, you can see you improved. And I suppose if you look back at your very first videos and my very first videos, they're embarrassing. You know, mine is horrendously bad. I've even been tempted to delete them. But, you know, you got to keep them on there to show people, the young people starting, you know, that's how they started. And started off and you become good, then you've built a really big, good channel, Laurence. So congratulations on that. You've done a really good job.
Much appreciated.
You've grown fast. Especially with beekeeping. We're not going to be 1 million followers. People following beekeeping. We're not girls in bikinis and doing pranks or whatever. I know what these channels that get loads of views do. We're beekeeping. We're a boring industry. Probably 30 plus, probably male dominated, whatever statistics is. We're not going to be crazy numbers, but the way your channel's growing, you're doing a really good job. Obviously, people are liking your channel, liking your videos, and YouTube will promoting it to more people. So you're doing a really good job there. And here's one thing I want to ask you as well, and I've seen it in the comments. Are you head of marketing at the Bello?
It's no secret. I've said it for ages. I do a Bello social media, and I fell very naturally into that, which was I bought loads of Bello polyhives, and I bought the Lyson extractor, and I bought the uncapping machine, and that was just my vendor of choice, which was I'd been through all of the other beehives and didn't like them, and then tried some Bello ones and really liked them, so moved over to them. And then when you got all of that equipment, and you're speaking with the people there about, oh, maybe I can add this in, or what would you recommend? Should I like this kind of sump pump and stuff? You build up a relationship with them, and then they see on the videos that it's getting a lot of engagement in terms of me doing like a video on an Bello polyhive. So then Damien just messaged me one day, rang me up and said, "Do you fancy doing the social media for us?" Because they didn't have social media back then. Literally didn't have Twitter. They didn't. It's X now, isn't it? Didn't have X. Didn't have Facebook. Didn't have Instagram. Didn't have anything. And they just said, will you do it for us? And I was like, yeah, I'm well up for that. So I've been doing it for ages. You can tell. It's just.
Yeah, I know you do it, but I didn't know if anybody else knew. But you're doing a good job there too. And I can tell when you're writing it as well.
Yeah, it's always me. It's always me. There was a time I got Helen to start doing it as well. So you just scroll back, see if you can find the Helen posts in there. That's always a fun game.
Yeah, no, it's one more job you've got to do as well, Laurence, is squeeze that in as well.
No,
but you are the king of multitasking, I think, in beekeeping. So well done.
Failing everything all at once.
Yeah, but going to YouTube then, I want to know what video you had the 1 million views on, and talk us through your YouTube day then. How do you plan a video? How do you go out and film a video? And then, of course, how do you edit and upload it? And what's your strategy there? Explain that to us. How does that work?
So I'm just looking at my phone now. So I'm quite. And if you ask my wife, is Laurence an organized person? She would say he is the least organized person that you have ever met in your life. And it's true. In some aspects, I'm really not very organized, but for some, I am. So one of them is beekeeping videos. So I've got a list on my phone here, beekeeping videos. If you screenshot that there, you'll get to see all my new up and coming videos. But anytime that I have a thought of, oh, I could do a video on that, I write it on my list. So my current list is 389 videos long of ideas for videos. So I'll read a few out to you. So drone laying breeder queens. Got a breeder queen that's turned drone laying. I've done this video. So I've got a flow hive that a mouse got in, mouse damage on a flow hive. When to add a super to a beehive. Paradise Smart Beehive review. The Keeper's Hive introduction review. Requeening some duds. Introducing new queens to failed splits. So I got this like indefinitely long list. Not indefinite, but 389 long list of videos. And the reason I have to do it that way, I can't just think, okay, wake up on a Wednesday and think, well, I'll go and film a video today. What shall I film? Let's have a think. I've not got the time to do that. So I have a list. And then Friday afternoons, we finish like one on a Friday in my job. So Friday afternoon's always been the beekeeping day. And that's when I film my videos. So I'll just get my long list together and say, right, I'll do 14 videos today, and think which apiary I can tick most of those off at, and then collect all of the bits that I need. And I'd have charged up all my camera gear the night before, and then I'll just go there and I'll just film like all day. So just 6 hours of filming non-stop, and it's quite tiring. But then I get back and I upload it all onto the computer, and then that's just what I do in the evenings. I just play around like editing videos. And I'll just do like one a night, or like half a video a night, depending on how much effort I'm going to put into the editing, and I to and fro. You'll notice this on the video. Some are really, you can see, oh, he's put loads of effort into that one, and then some are like, you lazy git, you've literally just done nothing. You've stood there and spoken for 4 minutes and barely even edited out the ums and the ahs. But sometimes they're the ones that do quite well, and I've learned that now, is that people just want the information, and that whole, you need to keep people engaged. For beekeeping, it's maybe not that relevant. It's a case of you've got a piece of information that they want, and they just want to hear what it is, and they're like, oh, thanks very much. Didn't need all of the fancy angles and different close-ups and stuff like that. So then they just go on. I try and do 3 videos a week. We do Friday, Saturday, Sunday. If I've got a live stream on, I don't post a video. And then the shorts, some people hate the shorts, but YouTube loves the shorts.
Yeah, I like the shorts.
I really do like the shorts, and I do think the shorts are the future of YouTube, because people's like attention span, my attention span's gone right down. I like doing the shorts, but the shorts, I'll just kind of bash them out whenever I can do them. But I try and do one a day, short a day, and I just copy it across all of the different platforms. But I am trying to make the shorts a bit more useful to people, and that's an area where I'll look back on the shorts and think that's not really very useful to people, and even like the ones I posted like yesterday and today, not very useful. But the one I posted this evening is the perfect example of why that's actually a really useful short. It's 23 seconds, and it's showing someone a different method for introducing a queen. It's like a slow introduction method, and it's taken 23 seconds. So I'm going to move, I think, more over to actually trying to add a bit more value into the shorts. And
yeah, that's the one with the masking tape, is it?
Masking tape, yeah.
Yeah, well, funny enough, I was talking to Dan at BS Honeybees, and he likes doing that, and I've seen Bob Binney do that on his YouTube channel.
Bob does it, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, like today, I was going through where we had 26, 27 queens last week. I was going through today, cut in the plastic, caps off them all, and took a bit of time. I thought, what a waste of time. And I actually found one queen. The plastic cap wasn't there, and she was there running around laying. I thought, am I making too much work for myself here? Should I just cut the plastic cap off? And I saw your video. Well, that's the second time I've seen the masking. Well, third time I've seen the masking tape trick now. And yeah, I saw your video and I thought, right, next batch of queens, masking tape, and we're just going to do it one hit. Do the nuke, stop the queens in straight away, masking tape, and we just go back in a week, see what happens.
It's interesting, because I think on your last stream with Richard, I had someone call me up the following day or message me saying, oh, you're basically saying you don't know what you're talking about with your hopelessly queenless method of waiting 8 days, because Rich and Griff said you just do it like this. And I said, well, yeah, but everyone does things slightly differently. You have to take it from my perspective, which is I'm selling you a queen. Yeah, they're not cheap, the queens. I want to do absolutely everything in my power to make sure that the queen that I send you ends up being like the master of the colony going forward. So I'd prefer to give you like the Rolls Royce golden plated version that I know will work 100% of the time. I can give you a version that will probably work 85% of the time, but you can't come back and say, oh, your version didn't work and the queen died, like, and I want a new queen or something. So it's different people, isn't it? I think if you've got one or two colonies in your back garden, surely you want the slightly longer, safer method of requeening, taking them to hopelessly queenless and knocking down the cells and going through that. Whereas like you, if you're making up 100 nukes and you're thinking this is hard work, this is difficult, I'd prefer to lose 10% of the queens and just have a really easy, simple process. Then both processes are completely valid, aren't they? But it's like horses for courses.
Yeah, because I suppose we've got to work out the labour cost when you're on the bees, where it may be cheaper out of a batch of, say, 20 that you lose 2 queens. Well, that's cheaper than spending more time again in another day cutting the plastic caps off. And, I like taking the workers out of the cages if I've got time. I was doing that a lot last year, and the success rate went almost 200%. Doing that, but it takes a lot of time, and sometimes the queen runs out, and I got this sheriff bag, and then you're trying to get it back in the cage, and it's okay on a small batch of queens, say 10 or 12, but anything over 20, that takes too much time, and you want to finish and go back home. But yeah, I agree. It's the hopelessly queenless is probably the most fail safe, not 100%, but probably is the most fail safe. And if you release the workers, then it becomes even more fail-safe again. But yeah, if I was handling queens, that's how I would say to do it as well. You know, there's a big difference because Andy that works with us now, he told me last week, commercial beekeeping and beekeeping is totally different. It really, really is, because you read the books and they tell you something, then you look at all the commercial guys on X and Twitter, whatever you want to call it, they're all doing the opposite of what the books say.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so if you've got 2 or 3 hives, don't take the risk of what the commercial guys are doing. It's just a numbers game there. You know, if you can spend a bit more time and get less things wrong with a small amount of hives, it's definitely worth doing that. And here's one thing I want to ask you. You recently rebranded. You can see the logo in the back. And normally when companies rebrand, I don't like the rebrand, but I think you've done a really good job with your rebrand. Listen, the logo is good. You can see the mountain. You can see the bee. What was the reason that you decided to rebrand? Because, you know, rebranding is expensive. You've taught everybody what your logo looks like, and then you got to change their perspective. There's a lot of things that can go wrong when you rebrand. I know a few companies that have rebranded and they lost a lot of work and a lot of money in the rebrand process. So talk us through it. Why did you decide to rebrand?
So I'll go back to the original rebrand. So we used to be called Hendriff Oil and Honey, which was like the name of my house. And it was, I designed the logo, which was just rubbish, and designed the labels and stuff. And it was shocking. And it was the honey cluster that got in contact with us at that point and said, you know, we'd like to be part of the honey cluster. Are you interested? And it was them who said, you know, if you want to change that design a little bit, we can help fund you, you know, changing the design. So I thought, oh, that'd be good. We like funding. I know you like some grants as well. Some people get jealous of the grants, don't they, Griff?
Well, a lot of people don't. I don't know what it is, whether they're jealous or they don't like it. But, you know, the grants are out there for everyone to get.
I know.
You know,
they're hard work to get, aren't they?
Grants in different areas. I mean, if the money's there, if you don't take it, someone else will. So if my advice is try and get, unless the grant puts you under financial strain to get it, don't go borrowing money just to get 20% off. You know, but if you're going to spend the money anyway, then try and do it with a grant.
Yeah. So anyway, they said that they give us some money to do some branding, and we got the branding, got some support, and we changed our name like just in this process to Black Mountain Honey, which did confuse a lot of people, and I think I confused myself with that. But like the reason it was Black Mountain is that we literally up there, like just around the corner where we live, that's where my main apiary is, in a little hamlet called Black Mountain.
Is that the one with the tree is right round?
Yeah, the one with the trees, the one that you've seen on all the videos. So
yeah, the big one.
That is in Black Mountain, and I'm not very good at geography, so I did not realize that there was another mountain in Wales called Black Mountain. So I called it Black Mountain Honey. I thought, oh, that's a good name, Black Mountain Honey. That sounds really, really nice. And then everyone was saying, that's in Brecon, isn't it? Or South Wales or Mid. But it was too late then. We'd already started the rebrand. But the lady who did the original rebrand, she gave me 3 options for Black Mountain Honey. I said I want it to be like this, but I'm no designer at all, no idea what I'm doing. And she gave me 3 options, and the first 2, I said to her, I really don't like those 2. Like, I'll be honest, I'll never sugarcoat stuff. I'll say it politely, but I really do not like those 2. I could live with the third one. Third one's all right, but it didn't really have a logo in it. So it was Black Mountain Honey, and it had all like the fluffy bees and stuff like that. But the original logo was the Black Mountain Honey with the big long wavy Y with the bee running on it. And it just didn't really fit. I like a logo to fit in a circle. So I changed it to what was on the jar, to the old logo. So that was never really a designed logo. So then it grew on me. Like, I think a lot of people like that branding and like that logo. And I think it was good for honey. It was a good honey logo because it was like always flowers and it's nice and it's local. But then when I didn't like my old website, so I designed the old website myself, and I look back at it now and you can really tell that I designed it myself. So there was always a plan, like over this winter, to upgrade the website. And I said, right, I'm going to upgrade the website and I'm going to pay someone to do it properly. So got kind of into contract with someone, and we'd agreed everything and all the changes, and I pushed the button. So we were going ahead with it. And the first meeting, they said, we just want to pause the project here, because we can do everything that you want us to do, with the old brand, but it just won't look right. And like we're not really happy going ahead without doing like a full rebrand at the same time. And I thought, oh, here we go. I've gone into contract with people that are just interested in, you know, chucking the extras in, and they're saying, oh, it's going to cost this much extra to do that. So I was like, oh, I think you probably can do it like that. And they said, we're happy to do it. We'd go ahead. This really isn't a sales pitch, but we just take a couple of days just to think about it. Like, we could, here's some of our work. We can pull you together a nice, you know, nice new logo, nice new brand. So I reflected on it, and I thought they're probably right. What the scope, or the brief that I'd given them for the website didn't align with fluffy bunnies and flowers and stuff. I wanted it to be like crisp and professional. And I guess we've moved away from, like, the honey side of it isn't really the big seller anymore. So it's not a honey website. It's a Queen's website. It's a Nucs website. It's a professional bees website. So they said, right, we'll do you a logo. But I said to them, I only really get one go at a rebrand. Can't do multiple rebrands, can you? You get one go at doing it, and then that's it. You have to stick with it. So I said, I really don't want anything cliche. Like, I don't want a bee in the logo, because everyone's got a bee. And I don't want a mountain, because if you're going to do Black Mountain honey, it's going to be like a mountain, isn't it? So I don't want a bee and I don't want a mountain. And they kind of looked at me a bit like, we were kind of banking on you not saying that. So they went away and they came back and they said, right, we know you said no bees and no mountains, but we think you're wrong. And this is the reason why we think you're wrong. Like, it needs to link back to beekeeping. You need a bee in it. It needs to be some form of bee. And we can, like, merge the mountain into the bee somehow. So here we go. We're going to pitch you this, knowing that you told us to not do either of these two things. And I didn't look at it immediately and think, oh, wow, 10 out of 10. But I looked at it and I thought, I like the colors. I like the way the text is displayed. Like, I can imagine a website looking pretty good with that on. And then I looked a bit deeper and I was like, oh, it is actually quite clever what they've done, like making the wings, the bees. So making the mountains, the bees' wings is quite clever. And then I look at it now and I think it's quite like a recognizable shape, isn't it? Just like the mascot on its own, like that. So it does what it's supposed to do. So I don't look at it now and think, oh, I got the best logo. I'm still a bit like, oh yeah, I quite like it. It's a solid 7 out of 10, I think.
Oh, I think it's more than a 7 out of 10. I think as Rebrand goes, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Yeah. And I didn't like your old logo. It was a bit too soft, too like you say, you know, too fuzzy. Where, you know, that is nice and crisp. And
because I was never really, like, totally sold on the other one. And what I definitely didn't like about the other one was the font. So the Black Mountain was written in a font, like, it's called Luna. And then if you've got your logo as a font, then you kind of got to use that font, or sort of like a similar font elsewhere. And it's not a good font. It's like very year 5, I would say.
Yeah, I suppose we've got that problem with the Gwenyn Gruffydd is a handwritten.
Yeah, but it's nice because it's like scriptive, isn't it, yours?
Yeah, but if you try and use that font for other things, it's hard to read.
Yeah.
So I know where it's coming from. I mean, again, we did our logo and stuff, you know, almost 10 years ago, maybe more than 10 years ago. You know, we know more now than what we did then. But, you know, we got to roll with it, basically. That's how it is. But like I say, maybe we rebrand one day, but we're not going to anytime soon. But yeah, wanted to say I like your new rebrand anyway.
Thanks very much. I've got a question for you on your brand. Sorry, I'm going to turn it back round. Do you think your Welshness, in your beekeeping company is like overall a positive thing for you, or a neutral or a negative thing?
It's a massive positive in Wales, because we're a Welsh company. We're Welsh speaking. We're, you know, Welsh through and through, and we're running a business in Wales. So you've got the roots, the Welshness shows our roots where we live. And, you know, by far, you know, if you speak Welsh in Wales, you got an advantage, whether it's getting a job or, you know, maybe getting that Welsh market then. But the flip side of the coin is, if you live in England, Scotland, other parts of the world, then Gwenyn Gruffydd, people think I'm called Gwenyn. But, you know, the Gwenyn Gruffydd translates to Gruff's bees. So, you know, the flip coin, that makes it harder on that side. But, you know, I'm very proud of being Welsh. I'm very proud that we live in Wales and we're Welsh speaking. So, you know, for me, I think it's a uniqueness in our company, and it makes it very hard for someone else to maybe steal our branding or steal our name or try and go very close to the name, because you do see that, I suppose, the more successful you go, the people try and, you know, jump on your bandwagon and copy your logo, copy your name to try and get some of that market share. It's very hard for someone to copy a Welsh name because they don't know about it. And I thought, well, is it really a disadvantage? Because you look at all these French companies with, you know, posh French names, and, you know, L'Oreal, and I can't think of any other posh French names, but there's loads of them there on the market, and it's a job, especially in the perfume industry, it's a job to say their name, and they sell loads. I mean, their uniqueness and the country they're from actually is a big pro for them, and it's an identifier, basically. It's what sets them apart from something else. And I think maybe Gwenyn Gruffydd is that for us. And a lot more people can say Gwenyn Gruffydd, and I know English speaking, you know, you can't say the and the like you know, like we can say in Wales, and but, you know, people are, yeah, not there, but people are saying Gwenyn Gruffydd, you know, people can say that. So to answer the question, I mean, truthfully, I don't know whether it's had a positive or a negative effect on us across all the markets.
The reason I asked the question, it wasn't like a targeted question in any way, is because when we rebranded with the honey cluster, they said you should, you know, it's a Welsh honey cluster, like you should probably have a Welsh name or have a Welsh thing on the website. And I was like, I live in Wales, but, you know, I'm not Welsh. I'm from London, so I think it would be a bit misleading for me to do anything and like play on the Welshness. But then the other reason I say it is because we sold out of Nucs, and then I had people calling me up, and I recommended, you know, I sent a few people your way, and I said, oh yeah, go down to Gwenyn Gruffydd, and they said, who? And I said it again. They're just like, you're going to have to spell that for me. And I said, oh, I'm not sure. I'm going to struggle to spell it. I was trying to think. I said, G, definitely G somewhere.
Yeah.
So it's just that bit. And I guess when you started out, you didn't think you were going to be a big e-commerce business.
No, it was never the plan.
No.
You know, when Gwenyn Gruffydd started, I was, you know, didn't want to leave my ranger job. I loved it. You know, this was just, you know, cash in the back pocket, like most people. But yeah, I mean, things change, and, you know, it is a pain, you know, when I'm on the phone and I tell someone what the email address is, and you got to go post at GWENYN.GRUFFYDD.co.uk. You know, that is hard. It's not like you know, Black Mountain Honey.
I just say Black Mountain Honey
it's easy
at gmail.com. And they're just like, oh, okay, Black Mountain Honey. Okay, no, it's easy like that.
Yeah,
I think that your Welshness, what you do have with the Welshness, though, is like from a brand perspective, you know, like people, oh, the Welsh guy on YouTube, like instantly recognize you from that perspective. So I think it's great for that, isn't it? It's just an interesting one, because I've seen it from both sides.
It's a really good question, and it's a question I don't know whether there's pros and cons 100%, but I don't know whether, you know, it's more cons than pro. You know,
I think you have to stick to your roots, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, selling the honey in Wales, if you look at the honey market, then, you know, probably 99% of it is Wales. That serves us really well. A Welsh name on a Welsh honey in Wales is perfect. If you were to go, if you're going on holiday to France, you want to buy French honey with a French label, with a French name, from a guy that sounds as if he's French, maybe. You know, it's the same if you go to Italy or something.
Well, wait, you don't want to buy Chinese honey that just says packed in Wales? Because that's kind of what I would go for, Chinese honey. I just want the sign that says packed in Wales. That would be the important thing for me.
Yeah, well, apparently a lot of that is happening in the supermarkets, and you know, that's who's done a really good rebrand as well. It's Richard Noel. He's, you know, and you'd think he'd go with an English label and everything, but he knows the honey market is in France for him, and it suits it perfectly with the different way he's done the label and stuff. And, you know, we never intended to have a beekeeping supply side to the business. That just happened, you know, and I didn't want to split Gwenyn Gruffydd into two, and, you know, have a group, or, you know, like the honey company and the beekeeping supplies. It's easier for us to just run everything as one. But we'll see how things go moving forward. It's just nothing set in stone. Things are going in the right direction now. And I suppose it's good for Wales that the companies do use the Welsh language in their business names, and it's about 40% of Wales still speak Welsh, and there's stronghold pockets, and we're definitely in a stronghold anyway.
Oh, definitely. How many people, Griff, are watching the stream?
We're on 179 now.
179. So it's annoying. I'm like I said on my stream last week. I'm not competitive. Strike that. I'm horribly competitive. Get more viewers than me on my streams every week. It's annoying.
Do I? Yeah, but I'm new. I'm a new channel, see.
Yeah, but you get guests on. That's clearly the secret, isn't it? You get guests on. Two is better than one.
Well, there we go.
I'm going to interview Jasper next week.
Ooh, I got a good guest in 2 weeks' time as well. Dan from Bees is coming on as well.
Oh, nice.
So we're gonna try and interview someone every 2 weeks. Basically, that's the plan. And if I can't get a guest, we'll do a full Q&A then. So I'm gonna commit to every 2 weeks. Not gonna let anybody down. We're gonna commit 100%. And you've done really well on YouTube with that. You've started something. You've kept at it. Yeah. And that's exactly what we're gonna do.
Did you like the meme? Did you like the meme that I used for our dirty deal?
I did, yeah.
We waited to use that for ages. I thought it was good. One of my favorite memes.
I love TikTok and all the funny small videos, but my wife hates them. I'll pull up a TikTok on Instagram. She goes off her head. She says they don't want to see that TikTok rubbish on Instagram. But it's my childlike brain. I think I like all the funny stuff on TikTok. TikTok is very much geared for my brain. I'm too childish, I think.
Oh, I've been shadow banned on TikTok.
Have you really? Or do you think you're shadow banned? Do you know what it is?
100% been shadow banned.
TikTok, because I think we put a link to sell something on TikTok, and we had a warning. TikTok really doesn't like you taking people away from TikTok. And if you're trying to sell something, or you're trying to link them to YouTube, or
I don't think it's the linking. I think it's the music. Because what I do is I'll go onto Instagram and create the reels on Instagram, and then download them off Instagram and then upload them. So I think it's a copyright thing. Because I was getting like 2,000 or 3,000 views per video, and I had a couple that were like 70,000, 80,000, and I'm getting about 3 views now per video. Literally like 3 or 4 views.
Yeah, definitely. Some of my videos do that, but TikTok, I just don't get TikTok really to grow on it. I mean, it's really slow. It's hard to grow. I like the music, and I like the way you can make TikToks, but I mean, I don't think the TikTok market is as good as, say, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. I think it's the
demographic. You'll see the demographic for you as well. Your viewers, their ages, and kind of roughly where they sit. And like for me, I think the 13 to 17-year-old is like 0.1%.
Yeah,
that's TikTok, isn't it? That's where
it is. Under 18s, I've not got many under 18s, and if there are any under 18s watching the channel now, well done, keep at it, because I tell you can overtake me and Laurence.
Yeah,
you just got to be on YouTube long enough, on social media long enough.
Yeah, and, I can't see the comments. I've got it. I'm in the private chat. Oh, there we go. I can see everyone's comments now. I was going to say,
I got some quick fire. I finished all my main questions. I just got some quick fire for you, Laurence. Okay. And then I'm going to hit some of the questions that have come in. So if anybody wants to be in a chance for me to ask your questions, write the answer question down now. Because once I finish these quick fire, we're going to hit some of the comment or the questions. So first quick fire, and answer this as fast as you can, I suppose. That's how quick fire is.
Go.
So how do you make a nuke?
3 frames, 2 frames of brood, 1 frame of stores, mated queen, loads of bees, new apiary.
Queening on the day of the split, or do you wait?
I go queening on the day of the split, and I come back 8 days later, and I open the cage and take down the cells.
There we go.
And feed.
Yeah. Well, the next question: invert or DIY sugar mix?
Invert, definitely.
Yeah, and you've changed on that, see, because you used to be a DIY. Yeah, I've changed my mind on loads of stuff as well since I did you, because that's the thing with YouTube. You say something this year, and then you change your mind in 2 years' time, and people go, you said this before. And I think, I know.
Someone did that on the paint the other day. I've updated I know, sorry, it's not ProTech, but I updated the paint that I use, which is like the Valspar.
Yeah.
And I gave the reasons why X, Y, and Z, and someone said, I just painted all my hives using the old technique, and I was like, oh, I felt really bad. I'll have to go back and put a note on the video, I guess.
Yeah.
But you do. You change. What do you want?
What's wrong with the aerosol then?
The aerosol's fine. It's this on the horizontal sides. The aerosol's perfect, but it's just on like on the vertical. It's fine.
Yeah.
But on the horizontal where water sits on it, it just flakes off. So you need like strong masonry paper. I've upgraded all my poly now, and you'll see I've got some coming in. I'll use a poly hive roof and then get like a metal insert, like a galv metal thing to sit on the top of it, and that's just like bomb proof. They will just last forever like that.
Yeah.
Someone needs to standardize that.
Yeah. Because the lid on the poly is what takes the hammering, really. Because I see so many. I bought some hives now off a bee farmer last year, retiring, and you can see some of his lids. He's put the smoker on it, and he didn't have a date done, but he got the 2 pins, and you got the melt holes where the smoker was,
and the straps. Because I strap everything down hard because it's Wales and it's windy, and they don't. Yeah, the poly and the straps don't do well. But if you've got the metal insert on the top, then you could just like ratchet it strap right down.
Yeah, spreads the load, I suppose, doesn't it?
Yeah.
For Aurora treatment, what's your favourite?
Apivar.
Do you requeen a percentage of your honey hives, or do you let them just run their system and burn out?
Every 2 years.
Do you? That's good. I don't. That's good. Poly or wood?
Poly.
Ooh.
It's quick fire. This is like it's not as simple as poly or wood, but if it's quick fire, poly.
Favorite frame types or national Langth, etc.
DN4 national self spacing.
Still a national. Still your favorite.
Yeah, it is. I prefer the self spacing variant of the national. I don't like the way that the Langth, it's like square to square. I like the kind of like triangle to square. I just find it's easier to get into them. But yeah, I'd probably go with Langth if I had to choose one just to use, and everybody else used it. I'll go Langth. I'll take that one back.
And the last quickfire question: what's your favourite hive? Because you've
got
loads.
I got to caveat it all now because I'm the head of marketing for Abello, but it is true. It is the 12 frame Abello poly hive.
It's a good hive. We've got one. It's good. It's good. Right. So that's it for the interview part of this. We're just gonna go maybe 10 more minutes. We're an hour and 20 in. If we stop at 1 hour 30 minutes, that's a nice rounded live. I don't want to take any more of Laurence's time. He's been very generous with the time and coming on. So let me flick through and see if I can see some good ones. Apologies if I do miss your questions. I just gotta try and keep the time to under 1.5. Here's a long question for you from Paul. There we go. If bees are sitting around 7 frames on national, would adding a honey super with queen to help prevent swarming, or would they still swarm? Laurence, that's one's for you.
So, first thing to say is swarming is a good thing. Yeah. So if your bees aren't swarming, you're doing something wrong. And people will get this. They'll get colonies that just build up and they just don't swarm, and they think, oh, they're doing good things because the bees aren't swarming. But if you're managing your bees and your bees are swarming, you're doing something right. The only thing you're not doing is stopping your bees from swarming. So you need to give them every single possible chance of not swarming. And one of those factors is making sure that they've got enough space. So I always use the 80% rule, which is when the bees are filling the box below by 80%, you add on the next box. So if you've got 7 frames there out of 10, you maybe can go like an extra frame, but putting the supers on now, I'd be getting the supers on. The aim is to make sure they've always got sufficient space in the brood box, and they've always got sufficient space in the supers. They never hit the walls, but more importantly than that, they never hit the ceiling. If you open the roof of a hive and you go into the first box and the bees are piling out the first box, they're going to swarm, or they're very close to swarming. So you should always open the top box, and like there should be either no bees in there or just like 2 or 3 frames of bees in there. And if they're touching the ceiling, then it's too late.
Yeah, keep well ahead with space. I totally agree. So here's the next one. Good evening, gents. This is from Liam G. I inspected my bees yesterday, and I have 2 other hives in a swarm in the very near future. Splits needed very soon? ?
I think so. I think a lot of people will get caught out this year, and I'm still seeing it. People saying, "Oh, you know, it's not shorts and t-shirt weather, so I'm not inspecting my colonies yet." And like I've been through every single colony. I've done all my first inspections, and loads of them needed space. Some of them needed feeding, but I think there comes a point in April where you've just got to crack on with it, and you've just got to go. So I'm not surprised at all to see colonies swarming. I'm not surprised at all to see lots of swarm cells being created. I like to do stuff before the swarm cells get there.
Here's another one. Where would you both have different opinions in beekeeping? What would you both strongly agree on? I think we both strongly agree on we like buckfast bees.
Like buckfast bees, yeah, definitely.
And what do we disagree on?
Probably best rugby team.
Definitely disagree on that.
Well, you could disagree, but you'd definitely be wrong. But
yeah, well, maybe this year, disagree. But up in the last 3 years, we've been better than England anyway. But yeah, we were rubbish this year. Rubbish. Embarrassing, to be honest with you. But yeah, moving on swiftly. I don't want to be talking down the Wales rugby team. Richard Noel was in the house. Richard Noel, everybody knows Richard Noel, the first guest we had on the show. Let's see, what else have we got? Yeah, nice good one. Question for Laurence. How does it feel being the second largest beekeeping stream on YouTube? Ooh!
It's fine.
Laurence has still got a way bigger channel than me.
Yeah, there we go.
I'm maybe getting 10 views more on the live. I mean, we're not going to take any credit for that. Laurence is way ahead of us on YouTube.
There is an important message in there though, and I think you said it at the beginning. I remember when I started my YouTube channel, I thought I'm gonna start a YouTube channel. There is Stuart Spinks and there is nobody else. Yeah, so I'm gonna start a YouTube channel. I didn't really think I'm going to selling honey to beekeepers. I hadn't thought it through. I just went and did it, and I thought this is great. I'm basically the second person to like properly do a YouTube channel. And then on like day 3, I realized that Griff had started a channel like 6 weeks before me, and he had like 400
we were out at the same time. I was before you. I remember that.
Definitely before me, and I just thought, oh, he's got there before me. I was so annoyed, and I remember constantly trying to outdo Griff and thinking, why is he growing so much faster than me? And I remember you got up to like 4,000 or 5,000, and I was on like 1,500, and I just thought, what am I doing wrong? Like I didn't know what I was doing wrong, and then it slightly changed a little bit, didn't it? But it's
I can't keep up with you now.
Yeah, but it's constantly changing though, isn't it? And like with the streams now, like unless someone comes along and does something better than you, then you kind of get a bit slack with it and think, oh, it's all right. You want that. You want someone coming and doing a better stream, because I'm already thinking, right, what can I do differently? And not in a I want to take Griff down, but I want it to be complementary. There's no point us doing the same thing. And I love the fact that you've taken that with your live stream. You're not just doing a Q&A, which is what I'm doing. You're taking it and like interviewing people and having like a business take on it and doing something different. And I just think that's how like the beekeeping collective gets better, isn't it? Is by like healthy competition.
Yeah, and like I told at the start of the live, you forced me to up my game because you were so good in some aspects of your business, and a lot of what you were doing it better than we were at the time. And I thought, right, we got to improve. We changed the website, and we changed, the same kind of stuff you've done. And we're both competing in the same market, of course we are. But friendly competition is a good thing, and competition for the market is a really good thing. And I like being number 2, because if you're number 1, you get comfortable. I remember Arnold Schwarzenegger saying, you want to be the goat climbing the mountain.
Hey, well, we both know that
I'm food. He's got the women. He's taking it easy. He's not training anymore. The one working up, he's the strong one, And if you're working up, you've always got a goal, looking at something where you want to get to, and that keeps you motivated. Where if you're already there, I'm looking at your channel. I'm trying to beat Laurence, and I like being like that. I don't like Laurence trying to beat me. I like to be the other way around. So
we both know that I'm not number 1 though, and Just Alex is definitely number 1. Like we've both been usurped by Alex, haven't we?
We have. Just Alex. I don't know. He's the stud of beekeeping on YouTube at the minute. I mean, he's
smashing it, and good on him. He's a great guy.
Any video he does, it's just boom, massive views. But he's a really nice guy, and people follow his journey because of him.
Yeah.
He could do anything on YouTube. His audience would follow him. He's genuinely a really nice guy, and his editing skills are amazing. And he's been doing YouTube since he was a kid. I've got nothing bad to say about him. He's an excellent example of what a YouTube channel and community should be.
But he's done exactly the same thing again, hasn't he? Which is, like, I've been trying to get like loads of views and stuff, and then you watch Alex's videos, and I look at them, and I don't think, why is he getting all those views? I look at the videos and I think, that's why he's getting all these views. Like, look at the work that he puts into those videos, and like the close cuts and the different angles and different perspective, and it must take him hours. The videos are insane. They're so good. And
it looks as if a TV company's done it for him. That's
really
how good it is.
Yeah. So we got to up it again, haven't we? We got to try.
Yeah, well, you always want someone to chase. You know, you never want to be number one. Always someone to chase and improve. And I think the two of us, we're chasing each other in different aspects of business, and you know, we're keeping each other on our toes, like they say. You know, none of us can get too complacent, and that's really good for business. You know, that's very, very healthy. You know, healthy competition is a really good thing. So here's one from my neighbour Pete. Can you explain the difference between F1 and F2 queens, and are there any advantages of having a second generation layer?
So I get told off for saying F0. So you basically get pure lines, which are kept pure through like artificial mating. So you know what the maternal side is, and you know what the paternal side is. You have a pure queen, and then her daughters are F1. So the virgins come out. The F1's drones that come out are actually pure drones as well, but the F1 virgin will have to go out and mate randomly. But the F1s are generally mated in a place where they will do their best to flood it with good drones. So it's not like island mated, but they'll do their very best to control the drone mating in the area. So that's an F1. So basically, you know what half of the genetics are because you've got the pure maternal side, and then you don't know what the other 50% is because it's the drones that are in the air. So then F2 is just the same again, but down to another layer. So you could argue that F2 is a really good thing in an area where you would be controlling the drones to a certain point, because you'd have greater genetic diversity within kind of the offspring of that F2 queen. And you get this kind of like hybrid vigor that they call it, which is you've got all of these different kind of interbreeding genetics within a single queen. However, you lose a lot of the original traits from both the pure queen and the F1 queen. So the further you go down, F2, F3, F4, and I think by the time you get to like F3 and F4, they're just mongrels. They're just whatever the local drone is that is in the air. So in some areas, F2 can be very, very good and actually outperform an F1. But what you'll get is that, say you had an F1 queen and you took 10 F2 daughters from her, you might get 2 that are amazing. You might get 6 that are all right, and you might get 2 that are vicious. So what you always get the further you go down is more variation. But some might be good, some might be shocking, but it's hard to say.
When are you going to start? This is from Pat. When are you going to start queen rearing? He's in Ireland, similar climate to us. When are you and Richard going to start queen rearing?
So Rich is probably getting geared up for it right now. We start a little bit later. We like to have the first virgins flying kind of like towards the like middle of May, 7th of May, something like that. I'm trying to take it back and see how far back we can take it. But it's weird. Every single year we get like, it's just too cold, it's too cold, it's too cold. And then bang, it's 25 degrees and still. And I think, but the weather now, I should have grafted 2 weeks ago. Or 3 weeks ago even. So I think in Wales, you have to gamble a little bit. So I might start grafting a couple of weeks, maybe 20. I've got my calendar here. I know I'm on May month here. Maybe like just towards the back end of April, I think I start grafting.
Well, you heard it first. It's definitely slower this year just because of the weather and the cold and the wet. But I suspect next warm spell, I think every queen reader is going to be thinking let's go for it, because time is getting on. Because normally you get British bred queens now. Well, first week in May normally. I don't think that we're going to get queens ready then at all. And I'm always wary with the first batch of mated queens, whether they're from Europe or from the UK. And the dodgier the weather, the more worried I am with batches. What I got here? Compliment.
Comments about
compliment for you. Can you tell Laurence? Thanks for sorting out my buckfast linguista yesterday, and I hope you had a very good day at the zoo. Well, there you go, Laurence.
I tell you something funny from the zoo yesterday. I went there, and the bull elephant was having a right old good time, and he was just like everywhere. It was never seen anything. Never seen anything like it. It was the parents just like covering their kids' eyes like this, like what is going on? This is supposed to be a zoo, but yeah.
Yeah, well, don't you remember that song? Well, our generation, you and me, baby, ain't nothing but mammals. I stopped singing before all the views go. Should I put 2 part fill supers? This is from Mark, or just with 1 to start? Hives are probably of standard strength, so this time of year can see nectar coming in. What would you do, 1 or 2?
It comes down to like the difference between back garden beekeepers and commercial. Like I always stick 2 on for the first batch of the year, but it's cold next week, isn't it? Like it's dropped.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Really dropped. So I'm thinking it can maybe just stick with 1 for the cold.
I've been putting 1 so far. Normally I just go down and slam 2 on.
Yeah.
Only the strongest ones have had 2 with me this year. But yeah, let's hope the weather improves. So this is from Steve's Honeybees. What's the worst thing you've ever had? Have you had multiple stings during 1 inspection? I think all your viewers know the answer to that question.
I always get told off. The reason that I do a lot of videos like that, and you all know this, it's quite difficult to communicate through a veil. And I like to, get nice and close up and get a good vision for people. So I like to do it without the veil. And, some colonies will have a good go for you. But I've had it a couple of times where because I don't mind if I get a sting in the cheek, I don't mind. Like I do not react to stings whatsoever anymore. It's very lucky in that sense. If I get it in the hair, I don't mind. Cheek, I don't mind. Obviously, don't want them stinging me in the eyes. And I've had it before where they've gone like millimeters away from the eye, and I think I shouldn't really be pushing it that far. That's probably quite irresponsible. So I'm starting to do it more with my veil up now. But the most painful sting for me is tip of the nose. Just like the absolute center tip of the nose, and my eyes just stream. It's like probably the most painful place I've ever been stung.
Yeah, well, Andy, I was stung this week on the nose, and the nose is pretty painful as well, because they just like your eyes water and everything, and anywhere where there's like lots of nerve endings, tips of fingers, ears, nose.
Yeah, anything that's not like fleshy as well. If it's fleshy, it's okay, but it's just like cartilage there, isn't it, on the tip?
I lost the question I was going to click then. That didn't matter. I've got there's more questions coming in. I thought I'd reached the end then. There we go. There it is from Andy. What do you feel is a manageable number of colonies for someone with a full-time job?
So if you'd have asked me that 3 years ago, I'd have said 150, and I'd have said you can get to 150, and that was so overambitious. It was ridiculous. So I would take it back now. Like if you want to enjoy your beekeeping, like 20. If you want to push it as far as you possibly can and dedicate all of your additional time outside of work, you could probably do 50, maybe 60. But that's like 50 or 60 and a full-time job is really, really hard work. So just work out whether you want to still enjoy it or not.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Because a lot of people do run over 100 and they work full-time, but it's too much, especially if you've got a young family and stuff. I burnt myself out, lost loads of weight before I quit my job. It is. And 50, 60 hives run well is a really good side earner on top of a job.
Yeah. And diversify on top of that, not just honey.
And you could sell 20, 30 Nucs at that kind of level as well. And, make really good, make a really good living, working a full-time job and having that on the side. You two are natural extroverts from the UK honey marketing board. Well, I'm actually a proper introvert.
I am the biggest introvert going, and we do loads of like this kind of stuff at work where they like assess you and put you on all these different courses, and every single time it comes out that I'm an introvert. And then what they have this thing called an authenticity score. So they check to see, like, it's got like leading with authenticity, and my score out of 10 came in at 0, which is basically what it means is that you put on this persona, which is this. That's why I do like, hi, I'm Laurence Edwards from Black Mountain Honey. And then when people ring up on the phone, I'm like, hello, yeah, you're right. Like, it's just 2 different people. So it's kind of my video voice. But in real life, like, I'm not one for going out and partying and talking. Like, I'm one for just sitting and watching telly, just chilling out.
Yeah, I'm the same. If someone invites me to go somewhere, I'm just there. Oh, I just want to be at home and do nothing, or just be on the bees. And yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing. I've worked so hard on the public speaking and the YouTubes and everything, and you've got to work on yourself. And I suppose we come across as extroverts, but I'm definitely an introvert, 100%.
Yeah, it's like a learned
interesting that you think the same as well.
Yeah, definitely.
And surprisingly, a lot of YouTubers or people, that have got their own show or whatever, they're introverts as well. Because my first ever public speaking event, I was talking to the Hard of Hearing group in Carmarthen. I still remember it now. I was so nervous, you wouldn't believe, going there. Okay. Unbelievable, the nerves I felt going there. But the more you force yourself to do it, the easier it gets. And I suppose YouTube is easy because it's just you doing it. And even though we got people watching us, maybe in the thousands by the end of the video going up, they're not there at the time. And you can stop and press record when you're YouTubing and edit the bits out. Then it's cheating, really, isn't it?
It is, but the two do go hand in hand. And people have said that to me before. Like, I'll say it to you if you're like a very good public speaker, come across really nice, and like the tone is right and the pitch is right. But you're not born like that, are you? And if I go back and you look at like public speaking and your ums and your ahs, and you're talking like this because you want to get all the words out, because you're really like, you're doing that. But the only way to ever get better at it is to like watch yourself. So doing YouTube and talking to a camera, like, you basically, when you're editing it, you're sitting there just thinking, oh my God, why are you talking like that? Why are you talking so quick? Why are you saying ums and ahs? Why? So you're just, every single day is like a learning day for public speaking, isn't it? Because you're just sitting there editing your own videos. So it does help.
When you get in a summer haircut, Griff, is summer ready? When are we going to see the lockdown Laurence again?
Well, that's never happening again. Basically, I'm bald up here. Look at that. That is proper hair. That is. It's down. When it's wet, it's down past my nose. I'm really proud of my new haircut. It's pure laziness. I do need to get it cut. But yeah, it's a bit messy, isn't it?
Well, I
tell you what,
my own hair, and Hannah's going to finish it off.
Yeah.
So this cost me nothing. You can see, I mean, look how this is receding. I mean, I'm getting losing this will have to be big before I know it.
Yeah, this haircut, this is midlife crisis haircut. Basically, back there I'm bald, so I think, well, if I can grow it at the top, I'll get like a classic comb over on the go, and then no one will notice that I'm getting old.
I'm going to do one more, Laurence. I've just come to the end. I'm just going to find that one. I read something, and something comes in, and then I lose it in the chat. There we go. Where is it? There we go. This one. I often see YouTube videos of beekeepers in hot, sunny places in America with no suit on at all and dead calm bees. I get asked this question all the time too. I'm thinking, try that over in Rainy Island. See how calm they are. They can't have European black bees over there. Or do they have them there?
A lot of it's made up. But Texas Bee Works, she's brilliant. Like, she gets so much hate, and I don't see how people can't see through like the marketing strategy of it. She's not trying to fool anyone. She's not being like, oh yeah, there we go, they're really calm bees, fooled you. It's like a marketing thing. Look how many millions and millions, if not billions, of views she's getting. and she's getting it because she's put together like really watchable, interesting, kind of shock inspiring videos of a woman opening up things with bees. Like, it's putting together two kind of different things into one watchable video. So I have nothing but admiration.
Yeah, and she's not gearing the videos up for beekeepers. She's gearing the videos up for
Instagram
members of the public, you know, normal people, not us beekeepers, everybody watching us. We're definitely not normal people.
No.
You know, she's gearing those videos up for normal people. And that's it. That is the end of this week's Hive Hour. So, Laurence, I want to thank you very much. Really appreciate you coming on as my second guest and helping the channel. And again, appreciate and respect to everything that you're doing there with Black Mountain Honey. Send my best to your wife, who's probably can't wait for you to get off the computer and keep her company, as she's not quite in agony yet, but she must be pretty uncomfortable at the stage. You know, I've been through it 3 times now. Wow. I know exactly what you're going through. So good luck with the pregnancy, good luck with the birth, and good luck with the beekeeping season, and enjoy your year off work. I'm sure we're going to see a lot more YouTube videos and content, I think, because you know, when the baby's sleeping, I'm sure you're going to be doing the content away, doing 2 things at the same time. And sure. Yeah, if anyone is on this live and you don't currently follow Laurence, I don't suspect there will be any, but head over to Black Mountain Honey. He's on YouTube, Instagram, everywhere you could think of, he's there, and give him a follow. And thank you very much, everybody. I'll see you in 2 weeks' time. But Laurence, if you want to catch up with Laurence, he's doing a live next week on a day that is yet to be confirmed.
Sunday, 9 p.m. we'll go with.
Do you want to end with anything to say, Laurence? Or
no, just I will. Thanks for having me on. I feel very privileged to be your second guest, so thanks for that. And you know, the healthy competition is very important for me. We've had our ups and downs, but like, you're a really good guy. Got so much respect for you and everything that you do. And it's just nice that we're in the position that we are. So a lot of respect. But thanks for having me on.
Yeah, because I told Laurence not long ago, when he first appeared on YouTube, I didn't like Laurence, and I told him that. But we've become good friends now. I think, you know, we both, like we said, there's still competition there. Of course there is, but you can't not like competition. Competition is such a healthy thing. It's better for the buyers. It's better for the industry. And it forces everybody to get better. So, you know, again, I want to thank you for making Gwenyn Gruffydd better, and I'm sure we've maybe made you a little bit better 100%. As well. And yeah, I don't like it when people come up to me, so-and-so down the road is selling honey, and, you know, well, don't worry, it's competition. You know, we could be competing in gin or lager, and you know, that could be like be 10 times more, you know, competition. You know, we're still in beekeeping. The competition is still minimum. You know, you genuinely don't have to worry about someone else competing against you.
Let's grow together.
Yeah, 100%. So thank you very much, everybody, and I'll see you in 2 weeks' time. And don't forget to log in to Laurence for next week. Good night, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Bye.